Okay, excellent. Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to welcome you all to tonight's special Chag Shavuot edition. We're going to be studying a little bit about the Chag of Shavuot and Kabbalat Torah, Am Yisrael, how to prepare for the Chag, and we're going to do B'ezrat Hashem halachot of Chag, especially when it comes to Motzei Shabbat. There's a lot of halachot which apply to Motzei Shabbat Chag when it falls on Motzei Shabbat. I would like to thank again Rabbi Netanel for arranging tonight's shiur, and I would like to dedicate tonight's shiur L'Eloi Nishmat Rivka Bat Shena Baruch Hashem Tenechenu Began Eden. And tonight also Azkara for my aunt Zichronah Livracha Clodיה Bat Ruchama Chana.
And also sorry, but my father as well, and it's Azkara, and this is the Shabbat. It's on Thursday, Chamishi Haba. Benji.
Avraham ben
Yosef.
Baruch Hashem Tenechenu Began Eden. Tihye nishmatam tzura b'tzura chaim. And want to wish long life and refuah shlema for Kol Am Yisrael, especially Gabriela Naomi Bat Malka, Elisheva Bat Sheva Bat Rivka, Tikva Shni Bat Rosette, Yael Lea Bat Rosette, Kelna Rufan Alem, Fuat Nefesh Fuat Aguf, Refuah Krova Lavo. So tonight we counted the Omer. What did we count tonight? 48, which means we are one day away from Kabbalat Torah. So, can you tell me, what is receiving the Torah? What do you do to need to receive? What do you need to do? God gives it to us.
Open your hand.
Exactly, excellent. Basically, if I want to give you something, you need to, I'll give me a hand and receive it, right? So, if I want to give you something small like a pen, maybe you just give me a hand, right? If I'm giving you something big, maybe you need two hands or maybe arms, right? However much you want to receive, that's how much you need to prepare yourself to receive it. Same thing as with Torah. Pasuk says, "P'tach picha v'amalehu," open your mouth and I will fill it. As much as you open up your heart and your neshama and you want to welcome the Torah, that's how much you'll be able to receive. So now, we're supposed to be preparing for this Chag for 7 weeks. And we have we had 7 weeks of 7 days, 49 days from Chag Pesach since we left Egypt. We left Mitzrayim, and we were supposed to come and accept the Torah on the 49th day, after 49th day, on the 50th day, to receive the Torah. Now 48 days have gone. We have 1 day left, and it's a very big day. It's the day of Shabbat. That's the one that was Shabbat. So tonight, we're going to look at a little bit about what is the significance of Shabbat. How does that help us to prepare for the Torah? Why is it specifically 7 weeks that we're counting this Sfirat Omer? And maybe help us to be a little bit to understand how best we can make use of our time on Shabbat. Okay. Can we just ask to can you pin me into the middle? Do that. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Gemara says there is actually machloket what day the Torah was given. Was it given on the 6th of Sivan or on the 7th of Sivan? We celebrate Chag Shavuot on the 6th of Sivan, which was the day, according to the Chachamim, that God would give the Torah. However, according to Rav Yossi in the Gemara, Rav Yossi says the Torah was given on the 7th of Sivan because Moshe pushed it off another day and wanted to give them an extra day. However, according to all opinions, the Torah was given on Shabbat. And even according to Rav Yossi, says that it wasn't given on the 6th of Sivan, it was given on the 7th of Sivan. He says the reason is because Moshe wanted to push it off to Shabbat. So we see there's something intrinsic with the day of Shabbat and Kabbalat Torah. What is it got to do, Kabbalat Torah, receiving all the Torah with the day of Shabbat? Well, what's the significance? What's relevant? Why can't you give the Torah on Tuesday? Kitov, Pa'amayim Kitov. Why is the Torah has to be given on Shabbat? Do you have any suggestions?
Because we read the Torah every week.
Absolutely, we read the Torah every week on Shabbat. Go on. So why does the Torah need to be given on the day of Shabbat?
Because we read from it. We're meant to read from it on Shabbat. So theoretically, the first. Hold on, was it given? Well, now we're in Bamidbar, so it's not.
Yeah.
So
no, we're in the parasha reading. We're in the parashat. You're in Chutz La'aretz. It's England is Bamidbar, and Israel reading parashat Naso. And the Torah was the 10 Commandments is parashat Yitro. That's what we're going to read on Chag HaShavuot. But the Yom Tov of Shavuot, which is the 7th of Sivan, 6th of Sivan, that happened to be given on Shabbat. According to Albins, when we received the Torah, what day of the week was it? And I ask tonight, the day was Shabbat. So the question is, we're asking, what's the relevance of the day of Shabbat to the giving of the Torah? Man, we have a suggestion.
Because the point of Shabbat is eventually the Torah.
The point of Shabbat is eventually the Torah.
Shabbat is the completion of the world being made in
yes.
6 days, the completion of the week. So to show the purpose of the whole thing is the Torah. So it has to be on Shabbat because that's when it includes everything, when everything was completed.
Very nice. I like that you think so. Shabbat is the completion of the creation, and Torah is the purpose of creation. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
So the whole purpose of creation was the Torah. When was the creation completed? On Shabbat.
They waited until the world was made for the Torah to be given. Oh, there's also Am Yisrael as well, but Reshit was the Torah according to one of the things.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I'm going to share with you. That's very good. I like that, Mir. Maybe we're going to add on to that a bit later, maybe. Maybe I'll say it now. Like you said, the Shabbat was the completion of creation. In fact, that's the day of rest. And Torah, like you said, it was the main purpose of creation. But also Torah enables a person, a man or a Jewish man, to reach his completion. That means how do you become perfect or complete in your midot? Come closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu only through the Torah. Now I'm going to share with you an idea based on the Sefer, one of my favorites, Netivot Shalom, which was written by the Admor Mislanim Rebbe, Rabbi Shalom Noch Rozovsky. Beautiful, really beautiful. So he explains like this. In the parasha which we read on the 10 Commandments, the pasuk which Hashem says beforehand, before the giving of the Torah, is the following. It says, in the preparation for Matan Torah, V'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. How would you translate? V'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You will be for me. Go on.
That is a valued nation, the holy nation.
Mamlechet kohanim. That means a kingdom of kohanim, of priests, of holy men. Goy kadosh. That means how do you prepare for the Torah? You will be for me a holy nation. The Torah is only given to somebody who is Jewish, right? Every non-Jew, they can do whatever the mitzvot. They're not allowed to learn Torah. That's one of the things they're not allowed to do.
And keep Shabbat.
And keep Shabbat. Very good. Excellent. And it's going to be very relevant in today's shiur. Why those two specific things? Okay? Torah and Shabbat. But Torah is completion of man, and Shabbat is completion in time. Preparation for receiving the Torah is to be Jewish. This is what he says over here. And to be Jewish means you need to be holy. Now, what is the definition of a Jew? the chosen people, the holy nation. What's holy about being Jewish? And I know many Jews not holy. And maybe the opposite of holy. So what does it mean being Jewish?
Having a Jewish soul.
Jewish soul, excellent. Okay. So Jewish soul, does that make you holy? The fact that you have a Jewish soul can be a very unholy person. Be very greedy, selfish, do bad things, be completely not holy. But a Jew, like Joe said, Jewish soul has the potential to be holy. So every Jew is a holy nation in the potential to be a holy nation. Now, holy doesn't just mean in the soul, in the nefesh, in the ruach, and in the neshama, but also mean in the guf. Which means a Jewish man, a Jewish person is supposed to have a holy mind.
Holy what, sorry?
Mind. To think good thoughts, positive thoughts, think good, speak good.
I would say yes.
Yes. Jewish person is supposed to have a heart, which is kadosh. To have a desire to do good things. Even the bodily, the physical body, the guf. Anshe kodesh tiyun li. Torah says we need to be holy people. That means what we do with our bodies and our hands, and then even the lower part of our bodies, but it needs to be holy. That doesn't mean. So, question is, we're not angels, right? We're all born here on this world, and our body is totally physical. However much you want to be spiritually and holy, you still need to eat, and you need to sleep, and you need to have marriage, relationships, children. It's very physical. So how holy can you be being so physical?
Sorry, what was that question?
We're all expected to be a holy nation, okay? And we're saying not only holy in the soul, like you put it at Job, that every Jew is given a Jewish soul and a holy soul, but we're expected to be holy also in our physical body, in the guf, not only in the neshama and in the ruach and the nefesh, but also in the guf. Okay, which means we eat kosher food. We make bracha on the food. Even when we're eating, it's kadosh. All right, when we're sleeping, we're supposed to have the intention that we're sleeping to give us strength to serve God. When we wake up in the morning, we start off our day with tefillah and prayer. When we want to get married, we do it under the chuppah, כדת משה וישראל בחופה וקידושין. We do mikveh, we do tahara. Everything is holy, even the physical aspect of a Jewish life.
Take your shoes off. Take your shoes off. Sorry.
Thank you, Benjamin. So the question is, Joe, and this is how we're saying, how holy can you become, or can a Jew become, if we're placed in this whole physical world? And there's a lot of physical going on. So where's the spiritual room for this? Where's the spiritual room? How can all this physical world and physical needs, how are we able to become holy?
We have in the Shema.
Oh, welcome, Yaron. Yaron is joining us. I just want to welcome Yaron. Where are you, Yaron? In the airport. Oh, yeah, Yaron? Okay, maybe not. Welcome, Yaron, to the shiur. We're asking, how can a Jewish person become holy? Meir, Chavod? Okay.
We have in the Shema.
Yeah, but how can you make a guf holy?
By doing actions which separate from.
Okay, but as long as we're around here on the physical world, how spiritual can we become? Where's the kedusha coming in here? And here, the Netivot Shalom, he says our answer, and he brings a proof. He said it's the gift. What did God give us a gift? What was God's present to man? God gives the Am Yisrael Shabbat. And Shabbat is the holy day. And it's the power and the benefit of Shabbat, and this is what we're going to talk about, that Shabbat, that's the power that we have to reach holiness. And we say in the Kiddush, ויברך השם את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו. God made the seventh day holy. The day of Shabbat is the holy day. Shabbat, that is the source of all Kedusha. Every Jew wants to get holy, you get holy on the day of Shabbat. That is the source of all the holiness. All the Kedusha is from Shabbat. And he said if a person wants to achieve holiness in Kedusha, it's through Shabbat. Now he gives two examples like this. One of the things is halacha in a korban. Someone wants to bring a korban, an offering, right? An animal. There's a minimum age for the animal to be brought up as an offering. Does anybody know the minimum age? Excuse me, I'm just going to open the window. 3 what? 3? 3? What did you say?
Yeah, I said 3. That's a guess.
What's 3? 3 days, 3 months, 3 years?
Years.
Years. No, so much less. Minimum age to offer up a call.
7 days?
7 days, much closer. Very close. The answer is
8 days?
8 days, yeah. 8 days is a minimum. So it says the Midrash, that's what it says. He has to be 7 days under his mom, and only on the 8th day you can bring up the korban. Now, what does that remind you of? 8th day.
Brit Milah.
Brit Milah. So there's no way we can do Brit Milah before 8th day. That's what we're commanded by the Torah. It has to be on the 8th day. Why? So according to now what we're studying, that when you're bringing up a korban, it's to bring it holy, right? Brit Milah, that is the signature of holiness of the Jew. Brit Kodesh.
Well, I know with the Brit Milah, one of, or if not the reason, is it needs to be 8 days, is because the baby needs to pass one Shabbat.
Yes, excellent, Joe. It says Brit Kodesh. That's what it's called. Brit Milah is called Brit Kodesh. Now it's holy. How do you get holiness? Now what we're saying now, the source of all holiness is Shabbat Kodesh. That means Hashem gave us the present of the Matana of Shabbat in order to reach this level of Atem Tiyuli Mamlechet Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh. In order to be holy, you need Shabbat. So how can you do Brit Kodesh without Shabbat? You have to have a Shabbat before Brit Kodesh. Even the Ashkenazim, they have a minhag of Shalom Zachor. On the Friday night, on the first Shabbat, they have a gathering, they drink l'chaim, they do brachot. On the Friday night to welcome in this Zachar on Shabbat. To welcome in the boy who's going to have his Brit on Shabbat. That's the holiness he gets from the Shabbat. He has to have that. Same thing with the Korban. You want to bring up an offering of a Korban. A Korban is something holy. You bring into Beit HaMikdash. You want to offer it up to Hashem. You have to have the Kedusha of Shabbat. It has to have minimum 8 days, because every 8 days has a Shabbat inside it. So on the morning of the 8th day, when you've passed 7 whole days, for sure you've passed one Shabbat, and you have the holiness of Shabbat infused into the body of the baby boy, or infused in the body of the offering. That's when you have the Kedusha. So the power of Shabbat is like a superpower. It's a supernatural. On the natural level, there's no way you can become holy. How can we become holy? We have to be given the gift of Shabbat in order to be able to become holy. Now everyone who's experienced the Shabbat knows what it means to experience the holiness of a Jewish Shabbat. Your neshama comes up high. You know, when you're reading the Torah, when you're making a kiddush, you're with the family, it's something which is unexplainable. That's the experience of the Shabbat. But the neshama, the shores of the Kedusha, that's what goes up. So the only way to become Kodesh, to bring down Kedusha and holiness, is through the day of Shabbat. Now, says the Midrash Rabbah, Midrash Rabbah in Bereshit Rabbah says the following, and this is a very famous Midrash. Midrash says, Amar Bishimon Bar Yochai. So let me just get the exact words for you. Tanya Bishimon Bar Yochai, Ben Yochai. Amra Shabbat lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat comes and asks for, hands in a request or a complaint to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, creator of the world, Ribon HaOlamim. master of all the worlds. לכל יש בן זוג. Everyone has a partner. What do you mean everyone has a partner? Created the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Everyone's even. Everyone has a partner. I have no partner. Says Shabbat to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Veli en ben zug. Etmea. I do not have a partner. Amar la Kadosh Baruch Hu. What do you mean he didn't have a partner? Knesset Israel hu ben zugcha. You have a partner. Am Israel. Knesset Israel. Exactly. כיוון שעמדו ישראל לפני הר סיני, אמר להם הקדוש ברוך הוא, זכרו הדבר שאמרתי לשבת כנסת ישראל ובן זוגך. Remember the day of Shabbat. That is the day. That is going to be your partner. Now can I ask you, my friends? How is it a partner? How is Shabbat your partner? What do you mean? What does Shabbat mean? I need the ben zug. I'm like lonely. Like, you know, I think, why do you get married? Okay, why a person gets married? What's the deal? You know, doesn't want to be alone. לא טוב להיות אדם לבדו. עשה לו עזרא כנגדו. Someone to share your life together, to be with, not to be. You know, what's the good with Shabbat? Shabbat's feeling like lonely. Like, you know, how much friends is Sunday with Monday? You know, like they partnership. You know, every day is his own day. You know, how do you explain this, Midrash? And it seems like Shabbat, you know, was all upset. And then when Hashem said, okay, Am Yisrael is going to be your partner, oh, everything's fine. That's much better. You know, I feel relieved now. You know, we're Jews all the week, just as we are on Shabbat. Well, not really more Jewish on Shabbat. Maybe we do more mitzvot or different mitzvot, but, you know, we have to fill in on weekday. We don't have to fill in on Shabbat. We've got mitzvot that we do the weekday. So how is Shabbat, you know, a partner or more of a partner for us? And how does that, you know, how does that
we sing in the song?
Yeah, go on, sing the song.
We say, Ki yeshmer Shabbat, el yishmereni.
Yeah.
Whoever guards Shabbat, Hashem, the Shabbat guards him, or Hashem guards him.
That's right. But where's the partnership? We sing like each partner looks after the other partner, so Shabbat looks after us, we look after Shabbat. That's what you mean?
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay. That's a nice idea. Let's look into the good stuff. All right, I'm going to go a little deeper with you and explain you the Chidush. And as far as I remember, I think it's from the Maharal. Maharal, beautiful Chidush. You ready for this? Where's Jogo?
I'm here.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What does it mean a partner? A partner. Why do you take a partner in business? Why don't you go solo? Joe, why do you need a business partner?
I'm just explaining to my son that he has to be quiet.
Okay, but what, Joe, Mayor, why do you need a business partner?
Someone backup, someone to lean on.
Yeah, but why didn't you just do it yourself?
You could. It's more work, and there's an element of it's kind of two people functioning on the same with the same focus.
Yeah.
That there's more likelihood for a achievable outcome. The outcome is more achievable.
Okay.
If it's done correctly, if the communication, if it's planned and logistically coordinated correctly, it can work. But if not, then it will fail.
So good. So I'm going to basically summarize what you're saying. If you can do it alone, you do it alone. The only reason to get a partner is you can do it better with a partner. Reach a higher potential with a partner. You got two people involved, focusing, you can reach a higher potential. If you can't reach a higher potential, then you wouldn't take a partner. You do it yourself. Now, same thing is in marriage, right? You have a potential to build a family as a male or as a female, but you can't do that alone. To reach that potential, you need to take a partner. You need to have a marriage partner in order to bring a child, to bring a family. That makes sense? All right. Now, Shabbat is saying, look at all the 6 days of the week, okay? Now let's say, day 1, what was created?
The heavens and the earth?
day, yeah, heavens and earth, and day and night, יום אחד. לאור קרא יום, בחושך קרא לילה, יום אחד. Day and night. But the fourth day was created the sun and the moon and the stars. Right? That brings out the potential of the day and the potential of the night. The stars, the sun, the moon, they occupy the skies. Second day was separated the heavens and the seas. Right? What was created on the fifth day? The birds of the sky and the fish in the sea. So that brought out the potential of the sea and the sarai as to make a home for the birds, to make a home for the fish. On the third day was dry land created. Okay, what came out on day 6?
Man,
all the animals which walked the world. So we fulfilled out that potential which was in the earth, the man and animals to walk the land. So says Shabbat, who's going to bring out the potential? You know, what I've got all this holiness. What am I going to do with all this holiness? This day is holy. Says Shabbat to Hashem, I've got nothing to do with all this holiness. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, don't worry, I've got a very important partner for you. Your partner is Am Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael ben Zugcha. You're going to infuse Am Yisrael with Kedusha. When they keep the Shabbat, of course, you're going to look after them. You're going to keep them, but you're going to infuse them with Kedusha. You're going to bring them up to that level when they're going to be able to be Am Kadosh, B'Kodeshim Tiyuli. He said, that's the only way we can achieve it. Okay, we're going to cut this short now. We're going to cut this short. Okay, it says the Midrash, the Torah came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said, what happens when we get to Eretz Yisrael? They're going to forget about me. Everyone's going to run and Ratz lekarmo. This one's going to run to his vineyard. This is going to run to his field. He's going to run to work. He's going to run to shopping. He's not going to have time for learning Torah. Torah ma tiyeh elea. Amar la HaKadosh Baruch Hu, zug echad yesh li shani mezaveg lecha Shabbat shemu. Hashem said to the Torah, you're going to have the day of Shabbat. And says the Midrash, Shabbat yaseh kulo Torah. You're going to make the whole day of Shabbat Torah. לא ניתנה שבתות וחגים טובים לעם ישראל, אלא לעסוק בהם בתורה. The reason why you're given Shabbat is a day off. It's not for sleeping. You can sleep. Mitzvah says sleep. But it's not for playing cards. It's not for playing with children. You're allowed to play. And it's not just for eating or making jokes. You're allowed to make jokes. The reason why we're given the Shabbat as a day off is to study Torah. And the Midrash says that if we would make all the day Torah, the whole day would be holy. I know a Jew. He lives in our generation in Beit Vagan, and he was in my house in London maybe 20 years ago. And from a very young age, well, then maybe after he got married, his Shabbat was only Torah. He would not speak, and he does not speak on Shabbat at all. My father knows it. His name is Rabbi Yechiel Tordman. He doesn't talk anything on Shabbat, only Torah. You say hello to him or say Shabbat Shalom, you'd start asking him a question and he'll just answer back with this hand signs.
But he speaks of the Torah and like
Torah. He'll talk Torah, learn Torah, pray, but only Torah, only Kadosh. That's what he uses for the day of Shabbat. The way of the Shabbat, that's what brings us up and enables us to complete the Torah, be able to learn. The absorbing of the Torah is only through the Shabbat. That's why the Torah was given on Shabbat. It had to be given on Torah. And Talmid Chacham is also B'chinat Shabbat. So that's why we had to give it the day on Shabbat. So maybe that also makes sense. What are the two things that a Goy is not allowed to do? He's not allowed to study Torah and he's not allowed to keep Shabbat. Those are the two things that make us holy. The Kedusha of Shabbat and the Kedusha of the Torah. The Torah is a Kedusha in man. In fact, there's also a third thing, which is the Beit HaMikdash. A Goy is not allowed to go into the Beit HaMikdash. And Beit HaMikdash is the holiest place in space on earth. Shabbat is the holiest time, Shabbat. So the holiest man, what makes man holy, is the Torah. And it's the Torah which is studied on Shabbat specifically that is worth much more than any other time of the week. In fact, Ben Ish Chai says studying Torah on Shabbat for 1 hour is like 1,000 hours during the week. So if we could Zoom on Shabbat, we would make the Shabbat on Zoom. And when we understand what is the preparation for Kabbalat Torah Shabbat, to prepare ourselves for Matan Torah, we have to make ourselves more holy, more kadosh. How would we do that? According to what we're saying now, the way you make yourself more kadosh is through Shabbat, or through the purity of Shabbat, and maybe studying Torah on Shabbat. So how many days do we have in preparation? 49 days, which is 7 days of 7 weeks. Now, what does the Torah call that? Torah doesn't say 49 days. What does the Torah say? Torah calls it Sheva Shabbatot Temimot. 7 Shabbatot, because it's the Kedusha of the Shabbat, which now we need to prepare for Kabbalat Torah. So these 7 Shabbatot is like the 7 Nekiyim Temimot of the Isha Nida, when she purifies herself. That's how we purify ourselves with the Ratzon, with the desire to become holy and to prepare ourselves in the holiness of the Shabbat. So this is what we're going through. The last day, tomorrow, is the last day of Shabbat. And in fact, we go on Erev Shabbat. Best way to prepare Erev Shabbat is also from studying Torah. And now we're doing now. This year, Torah is a way to prepare for Shabbat. Prepare for Shabbat, you prepare physically, and also you prepare in your actions, in your speech, and in your thoughts. When you do shopping for Shabbat, you prepare food for Shabbat. When you clean the house for Shabbat, when you shower, you get dressed, that's the actions you take to prepare for Shabbat. When you say, this is Lechvot Shabbat, I'm buying this Lechvot Shabbat, you talk about it, or you're reading the parasha, that's preparing in your speech. And that's when you're thinking about the Shabbat. It's also preparation for Shabbat. The more you put into the Shabbat, the more you get out of the Shabbat. And B'ezrat Hashem, this being the last Shabbat, that will be the best way to get more holy and to be a bigger receptacle, bigger kli, bigger hands, in order to receive more Kedusha of the Torah. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody a Chag Sameach, and hope you enjoyed the shiur.
Chag Sameach, thank you.
Big Matan Torah.
Amen.
It was a bit short to shiur today because I want to do a longer section in the halachot because there's a lot of halachot to do. So if we want to restart the recording, first of all, I'll take